Hey Dragonfly Swarm, so Ganyu is a character that has become well known as pretty much the strongest overall DPS in Genshin Impact for her massive consistent damage output, wild flexibility into multiple roles, and insane building and team comp flexibility given her element is Cryo. When she first came out, she took the Genshin community by storm with all of these pros and virtually no cons, as she was able to undoubtedly go up against any mob in the game and come out on top by a long shot, pun intended. But unfortunately, ever since the release of Inazuma, Ganyu has had a growing problem, and I say problem kinda loosely because it's a bit more complicated than chalking it up to Ganyu sucks now. So today, let's discuss what exactly has changed about Ganyu since her release and what that means for her value going into 2.4 with everyone and their mother wanting to pull for her. Ganyu is considered one of the strongest units in the game for a few reasons, the first of which being that her damage output, albeit not fast and bursty like Ayaka or Hu Tao, is massive and consistent. Ganyu's Frostflake arrows can charge up to 2 levels rather than the standard 1 for bow users, and once fully charged, the arrows split into a large cryo AoE upon impact, dealing massive cryo damage. This is essentially the bread and butter of what makes Ganyu one of the best DPS in the game, given she can utilize melt reactions to amplify the arrow's damage, or freeze comps to incapacitate her enemies while shredding cryo resistance to also amplify the arrow's damage. But that's not even all. She's also a god tier sub DPS for her ability to throw decoys on the field that enemies will prioritize attacking, as well as her burst being a giant snowstorm of death that lasts for 15 seconds with a 100% uptime potential at C0. Because of this, she can constantly apply cryo in a huge area of effect to enable freeze or melt comps with Hu Tao, or I guess even super conduct if you want to be weird and cool and swag. But unfortunately, with new enemies being released since Inazuma came out, Ganyu's flexibility is becoming more and more restricted as time goes on, and that's one of the major concerns I wanted to talk about with her value today. Currently in the endgame Spiral Abyss, there are multiple enemies that you have to fight that Ganyu is just not the best at fighting. For example, the stupid dogs. They're in like all of my videos because I keep having to talk about them because they're so annoying. Anyways, Rift Hounds are a huge problem for Ganyu because, as I said earlier, she deals consistent damage, not fast and bursty damage, and the longer you fight a Rift Hound, the more frustrating it becomes because they move around and teleport a lot, are very hard to lock down with crowd control reactions, and apply corrosion on you, so the longer you fight them, the more necessary it is for your entire team to have a healer. Rift Hounds alone are pretty much the direct counter to Ganyu's famous freeze comp, in which you use Ganyu, Mona or Xingqiu, Diona, and Venti or Kazuha, because this team just does not perform well enough to deal with Rift Hounds in a timely manner. And even if they do pull it off in time for a 3-star in that floor, they're more than likely on life support now because of corrosion and the team's very limited survivability outside of permafreeze keeping your enemies from attacking you. Beyond this, there are so many new mobs such as Kairagi, Rift Hounds, the Magu Kenki boss, and Ruin Sentinels that one way or another counter Ganyu, and I'll go over all of those really quickly. Ganyu cannot freeze Kairagi when they evolve into their second form. I already went over Rift Hounds. The Magu Kenki has a sort of mask shield that prevents her from attacking it at a far distance, and Ruin Sentinels are extremely mobile and cannot be crowd controlled into a pile to be quickly cleared by Ganyu. And all of these enemies are extremely popular in the Spiral Abyss recently, as in they've all made appearances in the endgame floors for weeks if not months now. So in terms of endgame content, or rather more difficult content, Ganyu is definitely not favored right now over someone such as Ayaka, who can still utilize all of these team comps with her cryo element whilst dealing massive burst damage very quickly. And this is probably one of a few reasons why so many people have been playing Ayaka over Ganyu in the recent Spiral Abyss resets, because she just fares much better against these powerful new enemies than Ganyu does. However, disclaimer time. With all the bad things I just stated about Ganyu, the common factor is that most of Ganyu's issues in 2.4 lie within the Spiral Abyss, and we all know that the Spiral Abyss is constantly changing. MiHoYo constantly cycles out enemies and puts in new or different ones, and with each update, the ley line effects change, enemy lineups change, things change a lot. So while the Abyss isn't Ganyu's playground like it once was as of right now, that's not at all to say it won't be her playground again. At the end of the day, she is still undoubtedly the best consistent damage dealer in the game, and she can absolutely still clear the current Spiral Abyss. You'll just need to be a bit more resourceful with her team building than you usually do. For example, I took the traditional freeze comp and instead used Kokomi as my hydro applicator, Shinha as a massive damage buffer, and Zhongli for resistance shred and shields, so I can just shotgun Ganyu's arrows in the enemy's faces, which actually works really well on Rift Hounds and Ruin Sentinels. Granted, it does require that you have those 4 5-star characters though. But with that weird new Inazuma style team comp, I was able to clear all 3 chambers of floor 12 in a timely manner with Ganyu, so there are still strategies and team comps that work for her, even in a Spiral Abyss that is heavily weighed against her, which in a way is a testament to just how strong she really is. But my main point, and the question I must now ask myself is Ganyu worth pulling for in 2.4? Objectively speaking, the majority of people that pull for characters pull because they like a character, but some also pull strictly for the character's strength and power. And what exactly defines strength and power better than a character who is as versatile as Ganyu is? Even though she's having a lot of trouble fitting in as a main DPS carry right now in the Spiral Abyss, we shouldn't forget that she also doubles as an S tier sub DPS who can enable other units to be at their best, which in my opinion is a display of the insane value you can get out of pulling Ganyu. With how often the Spiral Abyss changes, sometimes you'll be able to pull her off as a god tier DPS that stomps the Abyss, and other times you'll have to draw her back and become a bit crafty with how you build teams around her. But at the end of the day, you can use her in so many different strong team comps that it doesn't really matter, which is why, in my opinion, if you're on the fence about Ganyu's worth in 2.4, I'd say she still has a ton of value, and it would take a lot of changes to mitigate her value considering just how versatile she is. So if you're willing to invest the resources into building multiple teams around her, Ganyu is a character that can make full use of all of your hard work and investing, even if she isn't always the main carry. Okay, that is enough rambling from me. I got a bit technical and serious there at the end. If this video helped you in any way or you just generally enjoyed it, please leave a like and consider subscribing as it super helps the channel out. Also, you should totally follow my Twitch channel and join my Discord server because I would love to see you around in my community. Alright, I'm gonna go pretend to be a Ganyu main whilst I prepare for Yaimiko. Goodbye!